Hello everyone. Today is 14th March 2023 and this is the Hindu Delhi edition e-papers page number 6 article, A Chance for India to Shape a Data Governance Regime. So as you can see, this article is long enough and it will not be fruitful if we take analyzing this article line by line, because it will take almost 1 hour, even more than 1 hour it seems. So this will not be fruitful. So what I'll do, I'll try to extract the gist out of it and I'll present it to you so that you can manage the time in a better way. Okay. And before we start analyzing this article, I would like to request all of you who are watching my channel that if you like my analysis, then please do subscribe my channel and also share my videos. It will obviously motivate me to make more such videos in regular basis. So on that note, let's start reading this article. The heading is A Chance for India to Shape a Data Governance Regime. Okay, so what is data? Data can be physical data or data can be on digital data. Everything we do on a daily basis, that can be categorized as some kind of data. Okay, so whatever food we like to eat, that is also a kind of data. Whatever which kind of dress we like to wear, that is also a kind of data. Our fingerprint, our blood group, our health records, whatever health checkups we do, the reports that come out of it, those kind of all these reports can be termed as health data. Then whatever transactions we do on a daily basis or banking transactions, that can be also termed as data. The loans we take, okay, so that is also kind of data. The transaction we made in our demat account whenever we are transacting in stock market, that is also kind of data. So all these things, each and everything, from our mobile number to our personal details, our address, our name, our parents name, each and everything can be categorized as data. Okay, some data are available to us in hard copy format and some data is available in online storage or digital platform. So this article is mainly about this, all of this data. Okay, and how to manage. This article is all about how to better manage this data in a better way and how to secure the data management. Okay, and how we can go ahead, how our country economically and societally can go ahead with a better data governance rules. Okay, so let's start reading this. In recent years, India has made great strides in its digital strategies and data governance. India has embraced technology and digitization to drive economic growth and to improve the lives of its citizens. So they are saying that in last few years, India has accomplished a lot in terms of digitalization. Okay, as you can see now, from the village level to city, from each and every person, almost all the person in India have a mobile phone. Okay, whether it is smartphone or a normal phone, everyone, almost everyone has a mobile phone. Okay, there are computers in small village schools, and there is so many digital activities that India is going through right now. Everyone is watching YouTube, everyone is watching documentary videos. We can transact, we can make transactions through UPI. So all these things, all these digital activities that India has accomplished in last few years, that has helped our economic growth, and that is obviously improving the lives of India's citizens. Okay, however, as the country continues to evolve, it must also ensure that its digital strategies and data governance are inclusive, transparent, secure, and conducive to sustainable development. Of course, as we are reaping the benefit out of this digitalization, we have also, this is our duty to make sure that this digital improvement or this digital boom, that should be inclusive. Like, it should not be that it is only restricted to some people with financial power and the rest are not getting it. It should not be like that. From a poor person to a rich person, everyone, whichever class, race, religion, whichever financial background, social background the person is from, they should be getting this benefit of this digital improvement. Okay, this digitization. And this data governance, data management, it should be secure. It should be whatever data we are providing, whatever the data we are sharing with third party or we are sharing with some company, it should be secure. It is not like that. It should not be like that. Our sensitive data, our critical data is getting shared in an open platform. It should not be like that. And so that it helps us get a sustainable kind of development. Okay. Next, India's G20 presidency has provided an opportunity for the country to showcase its advancements in the digital arena, particularly with regards to data infrastructures and data governance. So, as you know that this year India is the president of G20. This is giving India an opportunity to show the world, show other more developed nations, Western nations, and other nations also, the developing nations also, that what kind of advancements or what kind of achievements India has already achieved in kind of data management. Okay. As the world becomes increasingly digital, the G20 has recognized the need for international cooperation and collaboration in addressing the challenges, opportunities, and risks posed by the rapid growth of data and digital technologies. So, this is a forum. This is a forum where India can express or India can represent whatever the achievements India has already gained in this data management. Okay. So basically, they are saying that as India is the president of G20 this year, so India can bring together all the nations in this dais, in this forum, so that all these nations can together act upon a better way. They can act in a better way in managing, in transacting all this data outflows and inflows. Okay, because every day a large amount of data, a very large amount of data is getting transacted. Data is flown from one nation to another nation, whether that can be banking transactions, that can be travel data, that can be various kind of data that is getting flown from one nation to another nation or from one company to another company. Okay, so all these nations, these companies, they have to come together and they have to act upon, so that this transaction of data that can be secured, that the transaction can be transparent, and it can be managed in a better way. So whatever the challenges or the risks they are facing right now, they have to come together. These nations or international forums, they have to come together and they have to take appropriate measure together. They have to take appropriate measures together to come over these challenges. Okay. So as you know that this UPI has been a revolutionary invention in India's financial system. Okay, this UPI has brought a kind of revolution in last few years. You can send money to anyone and you can receive money to anyone, and you don't even have to bear any charges for this transaction. Of course, there is a limit, there is a per day limit and there is a total limit, but still this UPI has revolutionized uh, our financial structure. Okay, and from a street side vendor to big shopping malls, everywhere you can use this UPI. Okay, and in last few years, there are various other countries, there are many other countries who have come and joined this platform, like Singapore, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, France. They have also joined this UPI. Okay, so that can be seen from this, it can be seen, clearly seen, that how much India has progressed in kind of digitalization in last few years. Okay, the next one is DEPA and related concerns. So what is this DEPA? DEPA is Data Empowerment and Protection Architecture. So this DEPA is basically a kind of consent management tool. It has generated both excitement and concern among stakeholders. On the one hand, DEPA has the potential to improve data protection and privacy for citizens by giving them greater control over the use and sharing of their personal information, by allowing individuals to easily manage and control their data consents. DEPA could help to build trust in digital technologies and data governance. So this DEPA, that is Data Empowerment and Protection Architecture, this is a joint public-private effort. This is a joint public-private partnership, and it is developed for a better data governance approach. okay, for improving the data governance approach. So what does it do? It actually creates a kind of digital framework that allows users to share their personal data on their own terms. Okay, they can share their personal data on their own terms through a third party entity. So everyone, each and every person has a lot of data, a data every day. So from the time we get up in the morning till we go to bed, a lot of data we process in our everyday life. Okay, this data can be related to our health activities, it can be related to our financial transactions, our stock market trading, it can be anything. Okay, so this vast amount of data, there are many companies, there are many parties who want to access this data. Okay, even for an example, when we buy a new sim card, okay, so at that time when we are using our biometric, our fingerprint, that time data is getting fetched by that company from UIDAI. Okay, so this is kind of a data fetching for a new service. For getting a service, we are giving the permission to fetch our biometric data. Okay, so just like that, there are various kinds of other activities for which data needs to be accessed, our personal data needs to be accessed. So when we are giving the permission for our data to be accessed through a third party entity, so that third party entity is called consent managers. Okay, so we are giving our consent for accessing the data, and who is managing our consent? That is the third party entity, they are the consent managers. Okay, so this DEPA, actually this went live in financial sector in 2020 under the leadership of Ministry of Finance, Reserve Bank of India, and a few other regulatory organizations. Okay, now the next is, however, there are also risks associated with DEPA, particularly in terms of security and privacy. If the consent management tool is not properly implemented or managed, there is a risk that personal information could be misused or misappropriated. Obviously, when we are sharing our personal data, majority of my personal data can be sensitive data. Okay, whether that is user ID, password of my banking login, whether that is some very critical health related data. So there are various kinds of sensitive data which we do not want to share with third party or some other company. Okay, so that third party entity, that is the consent managers, it is their job to ensure that only those data for which I have given my consent to share, only those data are getting shared. Okay, not more than that. So it is their duty, and DEPA, this framework, this data empowerment and protection architecture, has to ensure that security and privacy should be maintained, absolutely maintained, while sharing this data. So here I am writing down the third party entity, the third party entity who manages our consent to share data, they are called consent managers. Okay, the third party entity, they are called consent managers. I hope you will remember it. The third party entity who manages our consent to share data, they are called consent managers. Next, additionally, there are concerns that the implementation of DEPA may be inconsistent across different sectors and jurisdictions, which could undermine its effectiveness and create confusion among citizens. In order to realize the potential benefits of DEPA and minimize the risks, it is important that the tool is implemented in a transparent, consistent, and secure manner. This will require a close collaboration between the government, the private sector, civil society, and other stakeholders, and the development of clear and effective regulations and standards. So obviously, as this DEPA framework, this is a completely new thing. Okay, this is something new that is going to happen in our financial system. So in our not only financial system, in all other kind of data related systems, this is a new kind of thing, that is new kind of architecture that is going to take place. Okay, so obviously there should be a dilemma about it. There should be various things need to be streamlined regarding this DAPA. There will be various factors that need to be streamlined, where the government, the private parties, the regulators, the banking system, all then other internet companies, okay, other third party this consent manager companies. So they have to come to a table, and they have to decide on various factors that will be guiding this DEPA. Okay, so as there are various factors relating this DAPA framework, so it is very obvious that there may be inconsistencies. Okay, because these rules and regulations, they need to be streamlined. Okay, so there is no confusion among people or citizens regarding the use of this DEPA framework. So that is what they are trying to say, that whatever the potential benefits of DEPA, that we have to explore, and we have to minimize the risks. We have to minimize the security risk. We have to minimize the breach of privacy risk. So this kind of risks that we have to manage. Okay, and data has to be shared in a transparent, consistent, and secure manner. They are saying it again and again that whatever the data will be, that data needs to be shared in a transparent manner, consistent, and secure manner. Okay, and this will require close collaboration between the government. Obviously, not only government, there are other private parties also. There will be search engines, there will be this big internet companies, IT companies, then there will be private banking institutions, government banking institutions also, civil societies, and all other stakeholders who will be involved in this DEPA framework. They have to work together so that it can be successfully implemented, and it complies with all the regulations and standards. Next, while the advances in financial inclusion and the successful implementation of the UPI in India are commendable, it remains to be seen whether these advancements can be replicated. So again, the author is talking about this UPI, this revolutionary payment system, and he's saying that this invention of UPI is commendable, and it has to be seen that whether such advancement in digitalization that India has done in recent past, it can be replicated further also in case of this DEPA framework. Next, successfully in other areas such as health and agriculture. Okay, so as UPI has revolutionized the financial system, it has made it the transaction and all this payment system so much easier. So it has to be seen that whether such kind of similar advancement or similar invention can be done in health and agricultural sector, so that these sectors also can get benefit out of this digitalization or this better data management tool. Okay, the use of digital technologies can enhance access to healthcare services, particularly in rural and remote areas, while in agriculture they can empower farmers and enhance their incomes. Obviously, to those places, to those remote places, villages of India, where the activities, healthcare services are not up to that mark, in that cases, this kind of digital technologies can bring doctors to one mobile app. They can bring various health related activities, okay, to doorstep, because people these days, this mobile internet connectivity, almost it has reached everywhere, and electricity, India, each and every village of India has now electricity. So this healthcare services can be provided to these people where the actual physical healthcare facilities are not in the nearby vicinity. There such digital healthcare services can be provided, like a doctor on video call in an app, Okay, so this kind of things can be provided, and the same can be said for agricultural sector also, where the farmers can learn a lot, like about new pesticides, new farming techniques, new inventions in farming sector. They can, fishing and etc. horticulture. So there are knowledge that is available in our digital sector, in this digital books or this YouTube videos. So if those can be provided to the farmers, okay, if assistance or online guidance can be provided to these farmers, then this digitalization can bring similar kind of uh, technological excellence in this healthcare and farming sector also, and enhance farmers income also. Okay, however, there are concerns that relate to security and privacy on the one hand, and on infrastructure, connectivity, and the availability of a skilled human workforce on the other hand. Moreover, there are also concerns around the potential misuse of data and information in these sectors. For example, in the health sector, there is a risk that sensitive medical information could be misused or exploited for commercial purposes, while in agriculture there is a risk that market information could be manipulated for the benefit of certain actors. Okay, so obviously such concerns will be there. The author has repeated it multiple times that security and privacy of data sharing, that has to be ensured. Okay, on one hand, the security and privacy, that has to be ensured. People have already concerned, very serious concern about security of and privacy of data in the online platform. The second one is the infrastructure connectivity and the availability of a skilled human workforce. Okay, so whoever is managing the data, or whatever infrastructure is assigned for managing that data, the connectivity, the speed at which the data can be accessed or shared, so these kind of things can be available. Okay, they have to be put in their place first before starting this framework. Moreover, there are also concerns around the potential misuse of data. Obviously, when our data is getting shared via the third party consent managers, okay, then there may be a potential of misuse of data, because data is the most valuable thing in the world right now. From Google to Facebook, from each and every multinational companies, whether it is IT related company, or whether it is a marketing company, whether it is a commodity goods company, every one of them wants to access your data, what kind of things you like, what kind of things you like to do. Okay, each and everything has value, because this is kind of a market survey, and with your data they can manipulate you, with your data they can generate profit. So data is the most valuable thing right now. So obviously, when something is so much valuable, then to gain that data, there will be malpractices, there will be some kind of intervention, there will be some kind of qualified intention by some. So obviously, when we are dealing with such kind of valuable data, so obviously when we are dealing with such valuable asset, data is a valuable asset, then there can be a potential risk that someone will try to breach our data, someone will try to fetch the data we are not want to share. Okay, someone will try to gain access to the data that is sensitive to us, because every data has value, each and every data has value. So that is what they are saying, that in health sector there can be a risk that our sensitive medical information could be misused. Okay, or it can be exploited for commercial purpose, whether we are going to take a health insurance or something like that. In that case, our critical health information can be misused. Then again, in agriculture, when too much data is available in the open forum, in the open platform, that how much of this grain is being produced, or when they can easily gain an estimate about the market, then they can start manipulating it also. The companies, the big companies, okay, they can start manipulating the market, because they have the information beforehand, they have the data beforehand. Okay, so that is the thing that authors are very cautious about, that security and privacy of data have to be ensured by all the means. So another issue is that ownership and governance of data generated and collected in health and agriculture. What are the rights of data providers and what are the responsibilities towards them? The state has to play a key role in addressing and resolving such issues. So the authors are saying that there is another issue, that the ownership of governance of data. So who is actually initiating the data, who is sharing it, then who is accessing it, so by which parties this data is flowing, all this will be questioned. Okay, in every junction the data has to be kept secured. Whenever the data is flowing from one party to another party, there should not be any kind of leak, there should not be any kind of misuse, there should not be uh, any kind of breach of privacy regarding that data. Okay, so they are cautious about that in health and agricultural sector. Whenever this data is getting provided, then what is the right of data providers? So whoever is providing their sensitive information, so what is the right if such information or if such data gets breached, if it gets leaked, then what is the right of that data owner that he will get? Okay, so the state has to play a key role in addressing and resolving such issues. So the nation, the government has to play a key role in it, that they have to ensure the rights of the data providers, that yes, if your data gets leaked, then this will be your right, this will be your grievance redressal process. So this kind of frameworks has to be it has to be implemented by the government. Okay, next, obviously, data governance has to be a process in evolution that is agile and responsible, but it has to be built upon fundamental rights, values, and norms, and on regulations that balance the interests of all stakeholders. So, this data governance will be an process which cannot be just finalized in one single day. Okay, it will be a gradual process, there will be evolution in this process, it has to be flexible, because after each there obviously there will be a lot of hurdles while implementing this process, this framework. There will be a lot of hurdles, and in coming days, after releasing it, in the coming few days, few months or years, there will be a lot of obstructions that will be common people will be facing. Not only common people, all the stakeholders will be facing such kind of hurdles. Okay, so they will have to learn from those, they will have to learn from those issues, and gradually they have to rectify the process. Okay, so whenever the process gets released, it is not going to be the final version of it, because it will be an evolutionary process, it will have to be agile and responsible, and this process has to be built upon fundamental rights, values, and norms also, so that whoever is providing the data owners, their fundamental rights, values, these can be ensured. Okay, and all terms, conditions, and regulations have to balance the interests of all the stakeholder parties. These concerns must be addressed through strong and robust data protection regulations, the development of ethical and responsible data governance practices, as well as effective and accountable oversight mechanisms. So they are repeating these things, that whatever these safeguards have to be put in this framework. So they are repeating this one, that data protection regulations should be there, and ethical and responsible data governance rules should be there, practices should be there, so that all the stakeholders can be accountable and the privacy of the data provider or the data owner can be maintained. Okay, next is the issue of data sovereignty. So data sovereignty has become an increasingly important issue. The term data sovereignty refers to the principle that a country has the right to control the collection, storage, and use of data within its borders, and also to the informational self-determination of citizens over their data. So this is a country's duty, or this is a right of a country, that they can collect, store and use the data within their boundary. Okay, so it can be their own citizens data, and it can be other nations citizens data also, but this is the right of a country that they can collect, store and use the data within its boundaries. That is called data sovereignty. Okay, so India's establishment of an India Data Management Office is a step forward in the country's journey towards data sharing and data governance. Okay, so this office, this IDMO, Indian Data Management Office, this office will be set up by Ministry of Information and Technology, MeitY. Okay, so this IDMO is expected to oversee and coordinate the implementation of India's digital strategies and data governance framework, and to ensure that these efforts are aligned with the country's values and priorities. So this office, this India Data Management Office, which will be set up by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MeitY. So this office will look after all this data management. They will coordinate with all the stakeholders, and they will streamline all the rules and regulations. They will develop the rules and regulations and guidelines. They will form out the strategies, the data governance framework. Okay, so it will be their responsibility, it will be their job to align our country's values and priorities while implementing this data sharing framework. Okay, so it will also work to promote the development and implementation of open source solutions, which will help to ensure that underlying data architecture are a social public good, and to promote digital technologies to become accessible and affordable for all. So you can get the gist out of it, that mainly their responsibility will be looking after all the data management issues, they then formulating the guidelines. Okay, and they have to look after it that this framework, this data architecture is being used for social public good and not being used for any malified intention. Okay, so they will be promoting digital technologies to become accessible and affordable for all. The very first paragraph, the authors were saying that data sharing framework has to be inclusive. Okay, so that it can be provided to all of the citizens without any boundary. Okay, whether it should not be depend on which financial background or which social background they are from. This data framework should be inclusive of all. So the same thing is being repeated here, that it should be accessible and affordable for all. Next, again, this is a great opportunity for India to develop solutions that can be adopted and adapted in other countries. So just like UPI, this data framework, India has to show the other countries of the world that yes, they can do it, India can do it. Okay, they have to show the way to other nations also, that they can develop such a solution which can be very affordable, and which can be adopted and adapted by other countries also. Open source and open innovation models can be important alternatives to proprietary solutions that are governed by big tech companies. So big tech companies, whether they are Indian companies or whether they are multinational companies, so that companies may also be the stakeholders in this framework, because they will be playing a leading part in this framework. Okay, in this context, many commentators have called for the opening of data silos to capture the potential wealth of data sharing between governmental offices, corporations and citizens. While opening up some data silos may be useful in promoting citizen participation and increasing access to information, others may jeopardize trust and security. So what is silo? Silo is storage, right? Silo is a storage. So data silo means the storage of data. So some commentators have asked that such kind of data silos should be built to capture the potential wealth of data Okay, because there is a vast amount of data that is being flown through government offices, that is being flown through corporations, private companies, public companies, and citizens. So if such data can be contained in one place, then that will be fruitful for implementing this data framework. Okay, so they are saying that this kind of silos can be opened up so that it can be useful for promoting citizen partnership. Okay, citizens participation, and it can also in turn increase the access to data information. But on the other hand, some people, they are skeptic about it. They are doubtful that these silos can actually jeopardize the total framework, and it can be root cause of data leakage or misuse of data. So they are saying that these silos, building these data silos, that will not be a good solution, because there will be issue in trust and security of the data maintained. Okay, next, finding a middle way. For example, the sharing of sensitive personal or financial information may be harmful to individuals and society as a whole, as it may lead to discrimination, exclusion, and unforeseen negative consequences. Therefore, it is important for India to navigate a middle way between restrictive data sovereignty and limitless data flow, and define which data for which purposes can be shared and used by whom. Obviously, some data should be very sensitive kind of data, okay, and some data needs to be accessed for betterment of the society. So India has to balance, this framework has to be balanced, so that the very personal or very sensitive kind of data which should not be leaked, which should not be shared, that data can kept in a secure way. Okay, and those kind of data that needs to be accessed, that needs to be free flowed, such kind of data can be flown easily from one stakeholder to another stakeholder. So India has to take a middle approach, a balanced approach, that India has to find a way, a middle way, that restrictive data sovereignty should not be there, like all, they will be controlling all the data, they will not flow any data out of the the storage. That is not good for the country. And also limitless data flow. Okay, whatever the data every citizen have, all are available in open forum, that is never the intent. Okay, so we have to find a middle way between these two, and they have, the nation has to define, or the system has to define, which data is fruitful, which data can be used for fruitful purposes, and which data can be shared, and if it is being shared ultimately, then by whom it will be used, who is going to access this data, that has to be very clear. All this process should be streamlined. Okay, in doing so, India must respect and protect the fundamental right to privacy with a robust data protection law, and balance the interests of all stakeholders, including governments, businesses, and citizens, for the goal of sustainable development. Okay, so again, the authors are saying that the data providers or data owners, they should enjoy the right, the fundamental right of data privacy, because they are sharing the data, and the framework should secure the sharing of their data. Okay, it should not be like that, that this data owners or data providers, their sensitive data is being misused in open platform. So it should not be like that. Their data privacy should be protected by robust data protection law. Okay, and the framework should also balance the interests of all the stakeholders, because there will be government, there will be financial institutes, there will be businesses, companies, citizens, then there will be big tech companies, search engines. Okay, so everyone's, all the stakeholders stakeholders interests should be balanced in this framework, and only then sustainable development can take place. This requires the development of clear, transparent, and accountable data governance policies and regulations, as well as investments in the necessary digital infrastructure and skills to ensure that data is collected, stored, and used in a responsible way, secure, and accountable manner, so that a resilient data governance regime can be accomplished. So the same thing is being repeated, and in the conclusion, let's look at the conclusion. In conclusion, while the advancements in financial inclusion and UPI hold promise for transfer of inter alia data to other parts of the India stack, for instance in health and agriculture, there are also valid skeptical notes that must be taken into account. India Stack is a unified software platform that provides digital public goods, application interface, and facilitates digital inclusion. So this India Stack, this is a very important thing because a decade ago, India's local markets, it was filled with people buying and selling goods with banknotes. Okay, all the transactions in India, it was heavily cash based, but today we can transact whatever the amount is, we can transact it just by using some taps on our smartphone. So that is the development that India Stack has done. So what is the purpose of this India Stack? India Stack refers to an ambitious project that our country our country has done in last few years by unifying all the software platforms for a digital financial inclusion. Okay, digital financial inclusion for all the nation's citizens. So India Stack is a kind of various software tools or various platforms that are unified in one place. Okay, so what happened? First was 2009. What happened in 2009? The UIDAI, you know the full form of UIDAI, the Unique ID Authority of India, it was formed. Okay, then comes 2010. What happened in 2010? The first Aadhaar card, the first Aadhaar card was issued. Okay, all these are part of this India Stack. Okay, all these are part of the India Stack. Then in 2011, what happened? NPCI launched the Aadhaar payments. Okay, after that what happened? After that in 2012, the eKYC was launched. It was launched by same UIDAI. Okay, so now when you want to open a demat account, okay, then all your documents, all your, these days you can see that whenever you are opening a demat account or you are opening a mutual fund, then all your information, all your KYC form, that is electronic know your customer form, that is being fetched from the UIDAI. So everything has become digitized. Okay, next in 2015, the e-sign was launched. The e-sign was launched by CCA. Okay, so these days whenever you have to sign a document, you can sign it digitally. You don't need to physically sign the documents, and then you don't need to post it hard copy. You can digitally sign it. So that is the development that is also a part of India Stack's development. Okay, then in 2015, what happened? This DigiLocker was launched. Everyone knows about DigiLocker. All your documents, Aadhaar card, PAN card, all your certificates, vehicle registration, then your RC, your driving license, all can be fetched in DigiLocker. Then after that, in 2016, NPCI they launched UPI. So this is the revolution. Okay, this UPI is the revolution in financial sector. So this from since 2009 till 2016, and this is still going on. All these developments are parts of India Stack. Okay, so that's what here authors are referring to, that the challenges of digital infrastructure, privacy protection, data security, and responsible data governance must be addressed before these advancements can be fully realized in other sectors. Okay, so this advancement, all these advancements can be replicated in other sectors also, whether it is a healthcare sector or it is agricultural sector. All these advancements can be replicated, but again those cautious words that privacy protection, data security, responsible data governance, these things, these challenges has to be uh, addressed. These things had to be ensured that such breach of data privacy should not happen. Okay. Further, it is essential that the India stack is designed and implemented in a way that is consistent with India's broader development strategies. This will help to ensure that the data governance is aligned with the country's values and priorities, and that it supports rather than undermines the development of a secure, more egalitarian and trustworthy digital future for all. In this, India has a unique opportunity to develop and implement a data governance regime. I think the last line got cut while pasting. It will be implement a data governance regime that can be a model for other countries also. So, in conclusion, the authors are designating this India stack that is a very crucial. It is a very crucial format, or this is a very crucial tool which can be used for implementing this data sharing framework in a very effective or in a very better way. Okay, because to implement this digital framework, this data sharing framework, this India stack will be the most primary tool. This will be the primary tool for this one. Okay, so because of this India stack, for last few in the last few decades, India has progressed a lot, in terms of financial inclusion. Okay, in terms of digitization of financial assets, the transaction and everything. So if we have to replicate the same things in other sectors also, apart from financial sector, if we are going to replicate the same things in healthcare sector, in agricultural sector, and if we are focusing that this data sharing framework that will be implemented, and it has to be reached to, or it has to be provided to all the citizens, whether they are financially poor or rich, that doesn't matter. If it has to be provided to all classes of citizen, then this India stack is going to play a very crucial role in this framework. Okay. All the stakeholders, okay, all the stakeholders and the government has to ensure that there is no breach in the data privacy. Only those data which the data owner wants to share, only those data gets shared, and not more than that. And the third party entity who are managing the data consent, the consent managers, they should be responsible which data is getting shared and which data should not be shared, so that the this total structure, okay, this total structure can be secure, it can be egalitarian, means it should be equally available to all, and it can be trustworthy for common citizen of India, so that every citizen of India can step into a digital future with this data sharing framework. And only then, when this inclusion will take place, only when our society will take a big leap forward with this data sharing framework, only then it will be a marvelous thing. Okay, and obviously, hopefully, other nations will follow India and come and join this platform, just like the case in UPI. Okay. So again, this is a sincere request to all of you who are watching this video, that when I create such analysis videos, I have to do a lot of research and it takes a lot of effort. Okay, so please, if you like the video, you please subscribe my channel and you share my videos, and hit the like button also, and please comment how I can do better. I can, like, how I can improve my contents, and what other contents you would like me to analyze or talk about. Okay, so it will mean a lot to me, and it will obviously motivate me to create more such videos. Okay, thank you all, keep watching my videos. Thank you.